Two people have been arrested after clashes with police outside a political event in Sydney where One Nation politician Mark Latham was set to speak, and a warning some viewers may find this story distressing. Police say around 500 people attended the meeting at a Catholic church at Belfield in the city's southwest. They allege that a number of glass bottles and projectiles were thrown at police. In fact, one constable was injured.
Mr Latham says the meeting was called to discuss religious freedom and parental rights. A pro-LGBTQIA plus group has accused the far right of being responsible for the violence, claiming its members were targeted while trying to stage a peaceful counter-protest. Our reporter Ariana Levy is following the story in Sydney. Good morning, Ari. What's the latest?
Good morning, Lisa. Well, we have received a bit more clarity from the New South Wales Police. They say that they had attended, as you mentioned, this Catholic church yesterday afternoon about 7 o'clock, and there they found a group of 500 people who were involved in a confrontation. That had the riot squad called in, and that was quickly dispersed. And as you mentioned, two people were arrested, two men aged 34 and 41 who are currently facing local court. Now, from what we understand, we've had a number of different witnesses who have suggested different sides of the story. From what we've heard from the first set of witnesses who actually attended the event yesterday afternoon, it was an event that was held behind the church here in the hall, and it was for a speaking event that involved a number of different leaders, including One Nation's state leader, Mark Latham, who was due to give a speech. As you mentioned, he's been a vocal advocate for a number of issues, including transgender education. He's also put forward that parental rights bill that was put into state parliament earlier this month. So there was a number of issues. Now, from that, we understand that a group of 15 LGBTQI plus activists had come to the street, and they were marching, and they had pre-organised a peaceful protest across the street. But when the members of the group that were attending the event had come out, a confrontation did ensue. Now, we've heard from a witness who was actually living on this street here, Margaret Street in Belfield in Sydney southwest. He said that the escalation actually happened quite quickly.
Just all these cars that are turning up, people coming down the street, and then it just seemed to go a bit violent. Screaming and shouting and massive police response. You had police officers running down the street with batons and stuff, so it just seemed to get out of hand pretty quickly.
Now, the LGBTQI plus rights activist group has also released a statement. They allege that they were hit with a number of objects. They had also alleged that there was a mob that grew of 30 times the size of the people that are gathered here to protest. We've actually heard from one of the members, Jane, a bit earlier on News Breakfast. Here's a little of what she had to say.
Hundreds of them surrounded us. They punched us in the face. They grabbed us by the hair and threw us onto the ground. They threw glass bottles at us, and they attempted for over 20 to 30 minutes to break through a thin line of police.
Now, Mark Latham has also taken to Twitter. He had actually condemned the violence that occurred yesterday afternoon in a long and lengthy thread. He also said in that Twitter thread, he said that there needs to be a use of ballot boxes ahead of this Saturday's election, the state election, and making sure that they sort out their differences through that. He did, as I mentioned, condemn the violence. Now, he actually was able to continue his speech in the hall behind me and continue the event as it was supposed to plan out. And that's from what witnesses have told me as well. Now, New South Wales Police have urged anyone that actually witnessed the event unfold or the incident to please come forward and contact Crime Stoppers for any additional information.